Greetings, heroes. Thank you for coming back, returning to us again to join us for another adventure. This will be our second session in Mythia, but for you it has been a very short period of time, hopefully. We return to our heroes now that they are headed towards the Garen dock. But first, I would like to provide you with our disclaimer. We here at the Homebrew channel reserve the right to be horrible, crass, and crude when the story calls for it, but also to be delightful, sweet, and tug on your heartstrings. And remember, noble heroes, do try this at home. We will begin with something a little different. It is a letter. Dearest Mother, I have reached Garen safely and visited the cousins, but I am afraid that I must leave the city immediately. What I am about to write may sound like a joke, but even as I sit here contemplating it, my upset stomach tells the truth of the matter. One day after I arrived, I was approached by the King's Guard and requested to travel with them to the Citadel, where all 7 kings of Garen were waiting, with Roland Tarkan and other heroes, even a godmother, and apparently a terrorist and a pirate. I think they may actually be what I've described. Mother, a prophecy has been told that has my name in it, and I was asked by the kings to travel with these real heroes to the continent's center, to the Crystal Forest. The godmother said that Injasi may be in trouble or hurt, and that fate might be affected. I think this might be a real quest, Mother, like the ones in the storybooks. I admit to being both very afraid and a little excited, but fear I will be laughed at by these very powerful characters once they see that I am no greater than any meek. The godmother claimed that my presence was mandatory, and that the quest may fail if I'm not there, but I do not know what I could possibly offer them, except my staff, some baking, and my empathic abilities. Mother, it is possible that I do not return from this journey. If that is the case, I want you to have my house and divvy up my possessions among the whole family, which I suppose will mean about 1 possession per member. I especially want you to have my garden and my pie tins. Oh, and leave a note by the forest for brother, so he can know as well. I promise to be careful as possible, and who knows, with such powerful heroes with me, maybe I won't have to do that much. My time grows short now, and I must leave. I love you with all my heart. Your son might be a hero. Isaac, how do you come to the Garen docks the next morning, bright and early? They're going to be busy, you know.
I think he would approach in the same manner and wearing the same garb that he would when he was approaching the docks in Selenox.
Robe and all.
Yeah.
How do you transfer your constructs?
Do we still have the cart that we came into the city with?
There are plenty of carts.
Okay. I'll hire one to load my materials onto and have them follow me down to the docks.
Okay.
I'd rather have Prongor hire one and bring it down.
Roland, how do you come to the docks?
Roland has a duffel that he keeps his armor in, and just about everything but his spear fits in it.
By your spear, you mean your lance?
Yeah, lance. Yeah. Well, then, yeah, actually, he'd have his duffel over his shoulder, and Shadow would have his lance in the saddle, and he'd be wearing his sword, but just normal, like under armor clothes.
Okay, got it.
He wouldn't come dressed knight.
Juniper, how do you come to the docks?
She probably just walks, honestly.
Do you carry anything?
No.
What does Juniper look like?
Juniper has on her... Actually, she probably toned it down just a smidge. It's no longer the ball gown sized dress. Now it's just a more practical, but still bubblegum floss pink dress.
Okay.
Still kind of shimmers a little bit. She has a cloak on.
And you just look like you're going to a gala instead of a...
Is
Basically,
it more
yes.
more like the mini than...
Yes, it's closer to Minnie than her I'm going to
Poofy.
court and have to go impress kings
Yeah.
attire.
You and Bali sit across the table in your cabin from one another. And do we know how long this errand is going to take?
She sighs. With any luck, nearly a few weeks total.
She says, and we can't get any more specific than that?
It's fate. You know how fate is. She gives her kind of a droll look.
I suppose. So, what happens if it goes longer?
You mean, if it goes so long, it interferes with what we're meant to do?
Yes. What do I tell the crew? What do I tell Dom? What do you tell Dom?
That's the bigger question. I think we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
It's a dangerous bridge.
Polly, what do you want me to do?
I want you to be angry.
I am angry. I don't want to do this stupid errand with these ridiculous people. You wait till you see them.
And yesterday you were bragging about the heroes coming on the ship.
I was drunk yesterday.
Drunk with power, maybe.
I'm always like that.
No.
Maybe there's a point where I could step away. If they want to keep on doing their fool's errand, maybe they don't require me the whole way.
Roll an intimidation check.
Oh, wow.
In my game specifically, intimidation can also be used to persuade somebody through negative emotions.
23.
23. Okay. She seems commiserated with. There's a meek.
I think you might like him. He's probably the best of the bunch, now that I think about it.
Oh boy. Uh-oh. Hey, I've seen a lot of pictures of Roland talking.
Well,
That sounds like the best of the bunch. At least Johnny, I think so.
Jonia needs to behave herself.
That's not going to happen.
Actually, I think I might pay good money to see her mess with him.
You think Clevy's going to be okay with a dragon?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll put him on opposite sides.
When are they coming?
And she'll look out. Just a bit.
As you look out your back window to the docks, you will see a fine black carriage with a attachment to carry heavy loads pull up to the dock. It is making quite a racket, since almost nobody in Garen wheels around in these hoity-toity cart carriages like this. And you will see a man, although you could be mistaken for thinking that he was a very tiny ogre, climbing off the back of the cart and galloping to the curtains on the back. Oh, here we go, master. Well, how's my hair?
As good as ever, Prongor. Did you do something extra today?
Well, I know I don't have a great deal of it, but I did fix it up, he says. I want to make sure that these people don't gain a misunderstanding about our intentions.
Well, that's much appreciated. This is probably the last chance you'll have to see a barber for quite a long time.
He says, should I have worn the blue arm, master? I'm going to switch when we get to that. Maybe after I do the dance, he says.
Definitely after you do the dance.
After. And you, master, Did you take any special precautions? Some magical shields, perhaps? Something of that nature against unforeseen circumstances?
No, not today. I think most of our concerns will be within the city walls, and we're about to say goodbye to it, so...
Yes.
Isaac will get down from the cart and kind of turn around and look at the ship, and he says, "Is this it?"
Seems quite small.
I was expecting something a little bit more
No cannons.
grand.
We're going to be sitting ducks on this ship. Thank God he says, thank the heavens you're here, Master, to help them out. You could use the crossbow one to shoot off the ship side.
Not a bad idea. I suppose this is all they can afford in Bridgewalk.
They'll be immensely grateful for your help, Master.
What's the city we're in?
Garen.
Garen. Yeah, I would keep wanting to call it Bridgewalk.
Wrong side of the continent.
Yes.
How shall we process them through the area, Master? You know how people get when Felor comes out.
Yes. Do you have a spare cloak with us?
I'm way ahead of you, Master, he says as he pulls out 3 spare cloaks.
Okay.
Just in case, he says.
Good. Let's not take any chances with this. I want to start off on the right foot.
Although I do think a cloak will look strange on the oaken bolter. It doesn't have any arms.
Pull it by rope, and we'll pretend that you're dragging it with you.
Yes. Genius, Master. You're very intelligent, he says. Let me get out some of these. He pulls out a noose. Oh, wrong rope. He puts that back. He is going to pull out a normal rope.
I'm glad this happened before we were around you guys. I was rolling to be like, what are those sickles and knives for?
As you approach...
Also, Roland doesn't ride Shadow when they're not fighting.
Okay.
So she'll either be in his shadow or walking next to him.
Okay. Shadow is plodding slowly next to you. She is urging you to go faster. She would like to reach the ship and lay down and hunt or sleep. She's going to look over at you, and you occasionally play this game where she is going to look at you until you look at her, and then she'll look away. And it generally ends with the two of you wrestling in some manner. But in this case, if you begin to wrestle, she's going to break the dock boards. So, she looks over at you. The moment you look, as she looks back towards you, she's suddenly going to look ahead, and you see her eyes furrow in a way that suggests she's confused. As you look, you see what must be Isaac and his servant. A man next to him who is unloading. It might be a dockhand from what you know about it. The man keeps drawing out these strange things from the back of a cart. Shadow is going to look at you, and then you're going to see this kind of mischievous grin appear on her face. And she is going to jump and wiggle her entire form into your shadow.
I'm not sure what you're thinking, but maybe hanging out in my shadow for today, or a good part of today, is a good idea.
You're going to see this kind of, it's not a bulge, but there is a shade that's sort of flooding along underneath the surface towards the two people ahead of you. It's gone now.
Plan.
What can you do?
Jennifer, you exit from an alleyway. You look out onto a busy part of the Garen docks, and you see both Roland and Isaac amidst the crowd. They're not particularly difficult to pick out. Isaac because of his coloring, and Roland because of his size. Also the crowd, particularly, that seems to gather around him wherever he goes. you notice that he sort of absently seems to greet people with tiny handshakes and just kind of absent waves as he walks by them. And then you see the Outrunner in the distance, or what must be the Outrunner by its flags. It is really the perfect size for river running. Although you don't see any particular weapons on it, that's as it should be. You also notice that Isaac seems to be pulling his creations from the back of a cart. What do you do?
She's going to see if she can get a view of anything. She's basically going to watch the interactions from afar. She wants to see how they interact first.
Roland, do you approach the ship or the man?
I'll approach Isaac first.
As you head towards the two of them, you're going to see as Prongor is reaching up and into the cart to grab onto one of the constructs, to pull it out, you're going to see a little dragon head pop up in his shadow as his legs kind of kick outside the back of the cart. She sort of looks up and around into the cart, gets a little sniff, and then slips her head back in before he drops down. Isaac, once the constructs are brought off the ship, are you going to bring them to life?
Brought onto the ship?
Brought off the cart.
Off the cart, okay. I will have animated the Revenant as soon as it came out so it can walk alongside me, and I'll have it stay close.
Okay.
The others I'll have Prongor carry or pull.
All right. So Prongor is going to cradle the scout like a baby in his hand. He wraps it in a little swaddling cloth.
Okay.
And then he is going to take a big rope and sort of drag a large wheeled crossbow that has almost tank treads on it towards the ship, your oaken bolter. And then he will be trying to think. So that's in his good arm, and in his metal arm, he has lifted up the bronze scout.
Okay.
And he has to do that with his iron arm because it would penetrate through his flesh otherwise with its spikes. So he has a bunch of weird shit in his arms, and he's drawing a lot of attention.
Can I have the Revenant carry the bronze scout to lighten his load a little bit?
Yes. Does it have gloves?
It has boots and gloves, yeah.
Okay. All right. So then as the creature puts out its arms, Prongor is going to heft and unload the bronze scout onto him.
Okay.
And you do notice that as its cloak slides back from its arm side, you can see the skeletal wrists beneath, but that's it.
Okay.
It's going to reach up and drag the hood a little lower over its head, looking... And with a trick that you have taught it, it is going to pull out a cigarette and ask for a light from somebody nearby, and then proceed to blow air through its lungs, what remains of them, onto the cigarette. Nobody looks at a smoking man.
Okay. That's a good one.
You see Roland approach you. What you do not see, however, is the dragon who has come up underneath the robes of the Revenant and is sniffing it.
I don't see it.
No.
Shadow's really stealthy, right?
Yeah. Very stealthy.
Okay. Oh, Roland.
Need any help carrying anything?
I think we got this under control.
Sure.
Where's that dragon of yours?
Shadow somewhere.
Okay. It's a little unnerving, but I guess that's how it is, right?
Roll a perception check. Jimmy. Have dice back.
11.
No. You look around, you see nothing, except for a number of people who seem mildly alarmed around you.
Okay.
Obviously, they would You probably take that as they're alarmed with the weird things that your servant is dragging onto the dock. But, you can take it however you want.
Is that all you have? I say, gesturing to the bag you're carrying.
It's like clothes and armor and shit, but Shadow's got some stuff too.
Okay. Well, I guess it's always good to travel light. Could probably take a lesson from you on that front.
Sure you don't need any help? Got a free hand?
Let's see here. Here. And I'll hand you a box of stuff that I need put on the ship.
And say he's just gonna
Put it up. Yeah, that's probably the
put
last
it
one
right
we
up
have
on his
the cart.
shoulder.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Not often people offer to help.
Accomplice.
For sure.
It's the second terrorist!
You're going to notice that before, there were the normal looks. You're a tiefling in a place that doesn't usually house tieflings.
Right.
But the moment that Roland joins you, people are looking at you differently. You see that they seem to look at you and engage you a little bit, and then sort of nod to themselves, as though, he's all right. You are going to suddenly see spines rise up from a deep trench of shadow beneath scaffolding of a roof. And then a large back that might rise out of a bog and terrify passersby. And then you will see Shadow in its entirety, sort of rise up maybe 20 feet from you both, and then sort of scuttle over towards you, and then sniff wildly at your bag in Roland's hand.
Oh, the box I handed to Roland?
Yes.
Okay.
Shadow's going to put her teeth on it and then sort of pull it. Like, you want me to take this?
I got it.
She's going to drop back when he speaks to her.
Okay.
Here's Shadow.
There she is.
She is going to go over to the Revenant and pull on it. She pulls on the thing, the servant that's helping Isaac.
Hey, stop that.
She says, "You want me to take this?"
Behave yourself today. Just what you have.
She's going to drop it and then head towards the ship.
So eager to help out. Is she always like that?
She sneezes several times. She usually sneezes when there's a lot of dust around.
It is smoking.
He just kind of shrugs at your comment and proceeds to walk off with your box.
Okay.
Towards the ship.
Problem where I feel bad for not, having more for them to help with.
He goes, "I told you should have brought the rest, Master."
Oh, I'm saying that now. Hindsight's always 20/20.
He goes, "Well, the ship is quite small. You don't want to fill the whole thing up."
True.
June, you have observed and seen all that I've said.
She's amused, and she's pleased that they seem to not be snipping at each other this time. So that's good. She looks around. Does she see Hero?
You do. You saw Hero peek out from the crowd, only for a moment, and you saw the look on his face. When he saw Prongor dragging, and then Shadow sweeping out from the shadows. And then he sort of threw his rucksack over his shoulder and headed towards the ship.
Okay. Are they on board?
They're headed there.
She's going to make a fashionably late entrance as the last one so that we can go right when she arrives.
Euphemia, you are up at the wheel of your ship. And
Can she see the madness unfolding down at the docks?
yes, you can. It looks like several fishermen are headed out at the moment. And so there's a lot of getting nets together and moving towards boats and shoving off. Molly and you are standing at the dock, or excuse me, at the edge of your deck. And she has her head leaned up on the railing. She goes, "So, is that the tiefling?"
The best of the bunch. What is all this stuff he brought.
I thought that the meat was the best of the bunch.
I was being sarcastic.
I can never tell. Who's that? She says, pointing at Prongor. Is he coming with us?
No idea. Maybe he's someone the tiefling hired because he couldn't carry his own stuff.
Is that a crossbow? Are they bringing weapons? It's on wheels, she says. Well, those aren't wheels. What are those? She looks down at what's basically tank treads on the Oaken Bolter. You're going to see a new mechanism. Never seen tank treads before.
I have no idea, but that looks like it's going to tear up my deck.
2 people, she says. She looks up at you. Okay. Then you see Shadow and Roland enter the scene. Okay.
So, do you want him next to your room or Johnny's?
Johnny's. Yeah. Johnny's. What are we doing about sleeping arrangements?
Well, we prepared a couple of rooms last night. And with all that stuff, I'm sure the tiefling could sleep down in the brig.
Okay. Sure. That's how we'll play it. As Dom steps up heavily onto the stairs up to the wheel, he is going to join the 2 of you. Which one's Robert talking?
Can't you tell?
No.
And I let you sail my ship. Yes, that one, she points.
He's shorter than I thought he'd be.
She looks at him strangely. He's huge.
Well, I've seen Harper once, and he was a giant, he says. Just thought he'd be, very big. He's big, but he's not very big.
Please tell him that when he arrives.
I'm not going to do that. At this point, the crew is just decided to come up and look. And everybody is just staring off the back end.
Basically, we're all up there crap talking everybody.
All right. You and Shadow are going to be the first ones down the dock. And you will see Triss and a dwarf and a large human woman are going to set a plank between the boat and the dock to allow you across. As Shadow is going to look at it and then take a step on it and press and then decide way better of it. And she's going to sort of jump and hover onto the ship. You're going to see as Johnny and Dom back away from the giant dragon fly onto the ship. You hear, "Holy pits!" as Dom sort of jumps away from her. You see Cleby, who was on the stairs, scuttles up them on all fours and then runs up to you and hides behind your dress.
She's gonna step a little bit to stand fully in front of him, but not step back at all from the dragon.
He will scurry up your back on your leather armor and hang by the back of you. You hear a little noise he makes to comfort himself. You know that he heard it in the egg.
She sort of rubs what she can reach of him.
It's all right. He's not going to eat you, Bali says to the scared Kenku.
Besides, we wouldn't let him touch you.
Shadow is going to begin to sniff the ship. As you walk across the plank, you are going to see a crew of what look to be normal sailors in front of you. No pirates particularly. You're not seeing any pirate signs, eye patches, no peg legs, no hook hands.
But she has an awesome hat.
The captain has a track one. That's true. As you cross over onto the ship, a dwarf man. He looks older. Is going to reach out his hand and say, "Oh, Dom," he says.
He throws his bag like down on the edge of the right as out of the way as it can be, and reaches his hand out because he's not going to throw down whatever the hell he handed him because he's not
knows what it
trust
is.
whatever that's going to be dropping.
All right.
And he reaches his hand out to shake his hand.
All
All right, roll a Tarkan.
It's a great honor, sir.
This person
He says,
has floating brains.
I have heard many of your stories. I've been told that I am excellent at recounting them, he says.
I'm sure you are. Is she going to be okay, or should I have her hide in the shadow?
He's going to look at... what now?
The dragon. Like, she can be discreet if she's freaking anybody out. And he kind of points to...
You're going to
How
see...
far away are you from Cleby and Yuffie?
I mean, are we boarding, like, here? Yeah.
Nearish. Go back a little bit towards Julian. No, the other way.
Over here?
Yeah, there.
So we're boarding here, so you'd be up there. But he's not, like, shouting.
Perfect, thank you.
If she could hear him, she would say something, but if she can't hear him.
You're going to see the most piratey looking person on the ship. It is a woman, human, and you see she has a big warhammer and a thong at her belt. She's going to walk down the stairs nearest to you and says, "I think she'll be fine. You're Roland Tarkan, right? I'm Jania."
Reaches his hand out and shakes it. This box is the tieflings. Where's he going to be? Where do you want me to put his stuff?
I've got it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's going to drop it down and go to hand it to her.
She's going to take it. How heavy is it?
Probably 45 pounds.
Okay. Yeah, she usually lifts it. She hefts it up and says, "Let me show you around."
Okay. He kind of looks at you.
She nods at him.
All right. She is going to walk over and sort of wave her hand around and begin to show you the ship.
As she's taking him away, he's going to look and say, "Dom, right?"
He says, "Yes, Dom."
I like to repeat names. So, good to meet you. Good to meet you, Dom.
Bali and Yuffie are looking like trying to hide their smiles as Jania leads Roland away.
He is gone. What do you bet she takes him down the stairs? You see her taking down the stairs.
Yep.
Isaac. Prongor is going to reach first, since he is dragging in front of you. And actually, I assume you would probably walk in front of him at some point since he's dragging stuff. All right, you reach the ship edge, and you walk across the gangplank.
Are you carrying anything? Out of curiosity?
No.
I didn't think so.
Phalor is next to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a wraith-tall figure next to Isaac in a deep black cloak. The two of them could be very similar looking, except Isaac has a tail.
Yuffie will actually step forward to greet him specifically.
Right. Who goes first? You or Phalor?
Phalor would be right behind me.
Okay. You go first. The clip of your hooves goes across the gangplank. There is no noise from the second set of feet. You walk across, and Dom is with you. Bali is up on the stairs at the top of them. And when you walk across.
Okay. Good to finally see you again. Where can I put my things?
You gesture to what?
The thing Phalor is carrying.
Just how much did you bring?
He kind of appraises the ship beneath his feet and says, probably enough to fit into one room.
And weight?
How much do I think it all weighs?
It's
probably the
500
creation.
pounds.
500. Okay, I was thinking it's the creation's probably and like 1 box of spare stuff. Spare parts.
Okay. Yeah, 500 pounds.
That's how much I tell you.
Out of game, how would that be looking in terms of slowing down the Outrunner at all? Any impact on it?
Only in the
Minute.
most desperate situations.
Okay. Well, if you're bringing that much stuff on here, you can be responsible for balancing it appropriately.
Okay. I do understand that such things are important on a vessel as lightweight as this.
Her eye twitches slightly when you say that.
Are you in need of aid in the matter?
I think
Molly
we got
says
it.
from above.
I think we have it under control, but please show me the way beneath
Wait.
the deck.
She puts her hand up. Who's with you?
Oh, Prongor, of course, I say, and then this whole time we've been talking, you hear this like of like him pulling the stuff up the gangplank.
Of course.
He's probably just reached the top. It's been getting progressively louder.
What is he to you?
Oh, well, my servant, of course. He helps me with everything.
Prongor is going to reach the edge of the gangplank, and then he sort of drops the rope he's been pulling, and then is going to turn towards you at the sound of his name. Yes, master, he says.
Everything's fine, Prongor. Please start bringing things below deck.
Of course, master, he says. I must go pay the toll, he says.
Of course.
And he's going to walk up towards you.
He would have my
He has your pouch? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Money, that's...
He's going
That's funny.
he's going to sort of run up to you. What about a tip, master?
20%.
He goes,
They've been kind here.
wise choice, master. He's going to head off, back down the dock.
As well as my closest ally.
The figure behind Isaac, you've begun to notice, is very, very still.
Is it still smoking?
Yes.
Perception or insight check on him?
You can't see its face,
Oh.
so you can't insight check it.
Mm.
It's just, its shoulders don't move.
And who is your very still friend?
Oh, well, an ally. Nothing you need to concern yourself with.
It's my ship. I concern myself with everything.
True. Well, if you must know, Isaac will de-animate the Revenant and at the same time animate the Bronze Scout, so that the Bronze Scout just kind of stands and the Revenant just falls.
She leaps back slightly and reaches for her sword at that at first.
It's fine. But creations.
The Revenant is going to sort of fall together into almost a patch of bone, and then is sort of rolled up in the cloak. You could carry it like that if you wanted to.
I'll pick him up after he collapses.
All right. It weighs very little.
Yeah.
Just as much as a man's skeleton, basically. Yeah, so you'll just see the thing just collapse into a ball, and then the object, the worm made of metal that he was carrying that has a bunch of spines and spikes all over it, that thing comes to life instead. He sort of just touches both of them.
Oh.
Oh, what was it? Dom says, looking at it.
As I said, and I pick it up and it's carefully wrapped up so you don't see what was inside of the cloak.
It is still quite large. Like, you
Yeah.
kind of have to have it with both hands.
Prongor is the only one coming with me, and I'll kind of hold it.
Is it dark magic?
It appears to be.
It's simply fate. It's a creation of mine, much like this machine here you see, gesturing to the Bronze Scout.
The Bronze Scout is significantly more animated than the tall person was. It actually seems to move, like it has a life. So there's that.
A quirk of fate, you say?
Indeed.
You didn't cast a spell, Volley says. She gives you a meaningful look.
Do you know what my fate is?
Would you care to share it?
Isaac will pull out a sheet of paper and just, with a practice motion, make kind of like a crane with it, and then he'll touch it. And it will take off.
Okay, yeah. You origami the shit out of that.
I can bring life to that which has none. At least that's the gist of it. And then it'll fly back and he'll touch it again and it kind of just unfolds into paper.
Hero has been sort of waiting for the creations to get off the gangplank. And now that the Bronze Scout has sort of come onto the ship, you're going to see him sort of like scoot his way towards the gangplank. And you think he said excuse me maybe 4 times at this point. And now finally he's just going to kind of like, and he sort of just walks across the gangplank. And then, you actually don't notice him till he like walks around Isaac.
Hero, she startles.
Hi, he says. How
good of you to join us. Forgive me if I seem busy, Isaac says, and he'll start heading towards the bottom side of the ship.
Yuffie will step forward and offer her hand. Welcome to the Outrunner.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting us stay on your ship. It's very generous of you. Is that your room? He says, gesturing towards your cabin.
It is. Would you like to see yours?
Yes, please. He says. Here. He's going to pull a pie out of his bag and hand it to you. My family wanted you to have this. It's blueberry.
Of course it's blueberry. Well,
I was going to take it to your room for you, but if you want to take it.
thank you. She gestures over at Bali. Could you show him to his room?
Sure, she says. She's going to look at you and give you a wink, and then heads down the stairs towards him. Where's Master? Prongor says. He's going to take the oaken bolter and begin to, like, drag it onto the ship.
Do you require assistance with that?
No, thank you, Miss. Ma'am, Miss.
Captain.
Captain, he says. Captain. Yes, hey, Captain, he says. You're Euphemia.
You've heard of me.
He says. No. Where shall I put this?
You can drag it downstairs with your master.
Thank you, he says. Oh, where's the godmother?
She's not yet arrived.
Has she not yet arrived?
She'll be coming up now.
Okay. As he looks, you're going to see the swash of pink coming up the dock.
She actually has a cloak over her shoulders that she did seem to pull over her to not stand out quite so much in the crowd.
Okay. You are now up to the gangplank, and you are going to see the crew and Prongor ahead of you. And do you say anything? Do you walk across?
She will cross the gangplank and come up, and she'll approach you and says, Captain Carr, thank you for your use of your ship.
She just nods. So, where's your stuff?
Pardon?
Your stuff.
It's taken care of. You needn't worry.
So, you don't have any stuff with you?
Nothing will take up room. You needn't worry.
Oh.
I know how delicate balanced ships are.
Well, I appreciate your thoughtfulness.
Of course.
Not very good with the clapping, Prongor says. He tries to clap with one hand 3 times, and then he's going to step forward. He's going to start like humming some music, and then he does a little slow turn with his leg up in the air. And he's going to sort of hop there for a moment, and then he kind of rolls back and forth with his arms. And he's staring at you the whole time.
She has a very polite expression on her face that she's keeping it very pleasant right now. That's pretty much the extent of it. And she just kind of sits there and waits for him to be finished.
As soon as Prongor is done, And you're going to see a large human woman. She's going to take a wrench, a very large ship wrench, and she's going to act like it's a partner. And she will begin to spin.
Eyes widen just a fraction when she sees the one big wrench coming at it.
It's very athletic, almost like a Russian jig. And you know where both of them are from by their dances.
Where are they from?
Prongor's from the lower part of Selenoxian docks, and Triss is from Bellwether.
Ah, you hail from Bellwether after she finishes. And Selenox. She takes out her wand and she does a little twirl, and a bit of fairy dust basically settles on each of them for a brief moment.
Well, Prongor says, "Oh,
And
that's
she
done.
Kind
Thank
of
you.
twirls her hand and the wand just vanishes.
Thank you, Godmother. Indeed, thank you very much."
She's looking at Triss just like, so disappointed in you.
"I'll get back to work, Captain," she says. She's going to turn and quietly, with a bit of chagrin, head back towards labor.
You would never expect it out of that girl.
She's quite athletic. It's probably
You're gonna
one
see-
of the best versions of that one I've seen for a while.
Dom is
Where's
going to
some of the
approach.
It's a good addition, I'm sure.
"Greetings, Godmother.
Would you also like to dance? She interrupts.
I would, but I'm afraid that I have gotten quite old," he says.
Excuse you. There, two is plenty. I assure you. Plenty of luck. Plenty of good wishes.
I was hoping I might trade a tale for a dance.
I would gladly accept a tale, but perhaps not at this exact moment.
Of course, he says.
I didn't catch your name.
Dom.
Pleased to meet you. I'm June. Juniper.
His hand is much larger than yours and engulfs your tiny fingers.
She clasps both of them like that. It's a warm, welcoming sort of thing.
Molly is going to look at you like, what even is this?
She looks like she regrets everything.
Hi, I'm Molly. I'm first mate.
Pleased to meet you. Juniper.
She goes, "How do you do your makeup like that?"
I beg your pardon?
Your makeup. How do you do it?
I'm not wearing any.
This, like, horrified expression comes on her face. What do you mean? You're clearly made up.
She looks like she just doesn't really know what to say, and she was like, "Oh, well."
Some people get all of it, she says as she turns around. She's going to step up onto the deck.
Well, shall I show you to your quarters?
I would very much appreciate that.
All right. You all head down. Master, they can't be serious, he says, looking around the bedroom hold. He goes, "They think that you are to sleep here."
Yes, they do.
I'm sorry.
Prongor, this looks like where they keep their prisoners.
He says,
What is going on here?
"Do not worry, Master. I will talk with them, and
No. That's quite alright. I fear for what may happen if we start trouble now. Did you get to do your dance?
I did, yes," he says. "It went well. As well as could be expected. I didn't fall over."
Then you've been practicing.
He says, "I practiced once."
I see. Well, I know that was something you were looking forward to.
I don't know about that.
I kind of squint at it like, okay. But as it is, this sleeping situation will not do. Maybe perhaps we can build a new bed out of what we have.
That's brilliant, Master. There's plenty of wood and iron in here.
Is there?
Yes.
Is it like raw material?
No. It's
Oh.
made in cages.
Okay. I'll start my appraisal. See what I can do with it.
He's gonna like grab one of the bars and like rip this bar out, master. He says.
Well, then it seems we have something to start with.
Right. He says, Master, do you think by chance they might be more upset if we destroy it than if we merely asked for a better locale?
Yes. When you put it that way.
He nods. Well, we'll make our displeasure known later on, he says. You walk into the section with cots down at the base of the ship. So, I've heard a lot of stories about you.
Most people have.
Are they all true?
Depends.
You ride that dragon into fights against devilish enemies.
That one's true.
And you work with Harper the Bones on a regular basis.
Yeah, he's kind of my mentor.
7 sisters?
No, there's only... Whoa, I almost forgot. There's 4. 5.
I thought there were 7.
There's only 5. I forgot my oldest sister for a second, too.
He goes, she says, well, then I don't know what's true anymore.
Man, I keep having to count to make sure I'm getting them all. Yeah, there's 5.
I choose to believe Roland is actually doing this, by the way.
Well, this is your cot, I think. I guess just put your stuff under it.
Euphemia, what does she prefer being called on the ship? Am I calling her Captain?
Captain.
Okay.
Captain Euphemia.
Don't. Euphemia, no last name?
No, not a last name.
I don't want to piss her off. Hey, do you think...
You can call me by my last name. I'm Lowly.
Lowly?
My friends call me Madhouse.
Alright.
Does your face do that?
Yeah.
She goes, my enemies too.
You think Captain Euphemia would be upset if I slept on the deck?
I don't know. I
Like
think you might get in the way if there's an emergency.
If there's an emergency, I'm gonna be there.
Do you know how to steer and do anything on the ship?
No, but I can get out of the way real fast. I threw my gear upstairs and I like sleeping outside. Unless it rains, I might just sleep and I'll take a cot if it rains, but I like sleeping outside.
Sure, it's comfy.
I like sleeping under the stars.
I don't know. I guess you can ask her.
I'll ask her. Thank you, though.
Sure.
Shania, right?
Johnny. You are led down to the same room that Roland and Johnny are in. It is filled with cots, and under each cot is a chest that probably contains the gear of the crew. Personal items and such.
Can I tell which ones are occupied?
Fairly easily, yeah. Their chests are closed.
Okay. Is there one near a wall that's not occupied?
Yeah.
She heads to that one. She goes, is this similar?
Sure. Yeah.
Right. The two of you pass by each other. It's the godmother. I'm Johnny, huh? She says as you walk by.
Jennifer, pleased to meet you.
She's going to... She's going to go, so, unless you want to see the brig, that concludes our tour.
I'm okay without seeing the brig.
She has a little bit of a nasty smile when the brig is mentioned.
You see a very slight eyebrow raise as she looks at you in question, but doesn't comment. She does look around to see where you went.
Are you guys up here or down there?
They're down on the front ship.
Yeah.
Down there? Okay.
So wait, is the brig here or is it here? Because I think we
No, I'm sorry, you're right. It's the other way. Yeah,
I assume here
so
is
you're in
here
the
as well.
back of the ship. Yeah. Hero is he actually he's kind of looking around up top. He doesn't have a lot of stuff, so he's coming down in a second.
Captain Euphemia, I have a question.
Yes.
Would you mind if I slept upstairs?
Out on the deck.
I'll be out of the way.
So long as you can keep Shadow with you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean, she sleeps in the shadow world.
She looks back
He
to...
says that and then kind of like, oh shit, that's not like a thing people just talk about.
You see June looks amused when you look chagrined after saying that.
Yuffie just looks very confused. What?
She can just kind of slip into the shadow realm whenever she wants. That's usually where she sleeps. Also, if you want, she can stay there if she's freaking anybody out.
If you could keep her away from Queeby, that would be
Once
preferable.
we're out on the water, she'll probably be in the water the whole time.
You're gonna feel something touch your back. So the
Something
rest of you
that's not
see
Queeby?
a large dragon head has come out of the floor and is like,
Isn't Queeby still on her?
yes, that's who he's sniffing. So Cleby hasn't noticed.
June is just like,
Shadow, stop it.
Cleby's, like, his little black eyes are gonna go wide, and he, like, looks down and sees, like, as Shadow, like, gets jumped back into the shadows behind you.
She heard what you just said.
Cleby is going to squawk very loudly and jump and sort of wrap himself up in one of the cots.
She gets curious when you tell her not to do things.
Well,
So hopefully that was enough to satisfy her curiosity.
he's not for you, she says, looking over to where she assumes Shadow is. Please give him space. He's afraid of you.
Shadow is going to rise up. Now that you're facing where she was, she comes up behind you. The cots sort of press away, and you hear the leather creak, which gives you the warning that she's behind you now. You're going to turn, and Shadow has to look down at you. So she is going to, like, be looking at you and sniffs you. And then she seems to catch a scent, and she's gonna, like knock your tricorn hat off and, like, sniff at the bandana.
Shadow, come on. Behave yourself.
She's gonna look back at you with, like, a, what?
Be polite.
She literally shrugs. She goes, "Grrr."
I didn't have this the last time we met, she says, looking up at Shadow.
She turns and nods. She is going to, like, rear back on her haunches so that she's sort of sitting on her butt, and her neck, like, cranes up to the ceiling in here. And then she's going to kind of look around. "Brr," she says, looking at you. She nods towards the cots.
You point
She nods, and then it's going to dive back into the floor. You see her tail sort of whiplash around before it sinks in. It hits one of the cots.
Is she usually
June
interested in...
just sticks her hand out and kind of does that. It just slides back into position.
She gets a little curious in these situations.
I wonder what she found so interesting about my bandana.
I don't know, I'm sorry about that.
June, you feel a disturbance in the force around you. You know that she's coming out of the back wall to your left. As you turn and look, you see a startled face of a dragon, like just the nose, has come out of the wall. She says, impressed.
She smiles and says quietly in Draconic, "Hello, beautiful."
Her eyes furrow.
Can you speak to her? She asks.
Well, I can speak Draconic. Whether or not she speaks it.
She does. Well,
She shakes her head now.
She shakes her head.
I assume I don't understand what she said.
It's like a guttural throat vibration. You're not sure she can talk.
Oh, you're too young, aren't you?
We don't know.
She's going to look upset. She puts her hand to the wall. And you're going to see the
sorry.
shadows sort of roil around. And
She
slip out the door.
apologizes. She goes, I'm sorry.
We can talk about it later. He's gonna go
She
ahead
nods.
upstairs.
And she kind of does this.
Stay to one side.
That's my plan.
We need everything in the walkways clear in case it's an emergency.
I sleep against the walls. Thank you.
Hero is going to jump up on one of the cots and then, like roll over into it. Is this one okay? He says.
Perfectly fine. You notice her brighten a little bit more when she's talking to him.
You see him sort of swing back and forth a little bit, and then, he looks over at Jania, who's sitting next to him. You a swinger? He says. What?
Really?
You swing the cot. He says, I don't want to hit you. She says, oh, no. Oh, good.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm 12, okay? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was
Also, Johnny is definitely a swinger.
Okay, so you guys, having found your sleeping stations, except for Isaac, what are you up to?
Yes, where is Isaac?
So at one point during this,
Oh, he's found his sleeping station. He's just not happy about it.
you guys see him come out of the door to the brig, and he's like, I heard talk of someone sleeping up top. I was rolling, wasn't it?
It was.
Well, I guess he won't be needing this, and then Isaac will take one of the cots and, drag it off where it's sitting, and then drag it into the brig with him.
She's gonna lean out. I didn't give you permission to do that.
Can I have this?
No.
Okay. He'll bring it back and put it back.
Is there something about your accommodations that you don't find pleasing?
Well,
Wait, Isaac's in the brig?
He's right near all of his stuff.
This is right near all of his stuff, isn't it?
The brig is closer.
About like a foot, Hero says.
he has a point.
If you would like, you may have my cot. I'll take the break.
I could not possibly accept that from a godmother.
We have an extra one since Roland is sleeping above deck. But you and your ally will have to share.
Okay. We've been through worse. Do you mind if I move it? He says.
She looks pleased that you asked.
He may have mine. I have a secondary.
Where are you going to hang it?
She looks up. I'm sure Hammock will do fine.
Wow. How fortunate. That's very generous of you. Rongor, come here. You have 2 cots you need to move into the brig.
Yes, master, he says. He's going to take both the cots and take them in.
She sees your expression. She's like,
You get them hooked up. They're
Okay.
ready to go. Vanessa, what if there is criminals in these cages? Do you think
There
maybe
are.
that we can gain their aid?
This is just me and him
Yeah.
in the brig now, right? I suppose I'd have to size them up first, as I have every other time.
Cots in here, it'll be very easy.
Yes, it would. And if they're not worth our time, then it wouldn't be too hard to keep them quiet.
Certainly not. He says, this is a wonderful plan.
I guess blessings come in many forms. I did not anticipate this working out at all.
He goes, to tell you the truth, neither did I. He says, well, we should go make relationships with them, Esther. Or you should.
You can come with me, Prongor.
He says,
Let's get some fresh air.
yes, mister. He says.
Okay.
it is our mark.
All right. Thank you all very much for joining us. I hope you all enjoyed very much. And do you remember, do try to sit home.